All right. Hello. Today we have another question. Okay, first I want to say thank you for trusting me with this question. I'm going to answer it based on my own personal experiences and what I have learned in working with other people. So, again, thank you also for subscribing. If you have not subscribed, please press subscribe and hit the bell so that you can get alerts on my new videos. So the question I was given was, how can I network? I know a lot of people and I've known many of them for years. However, when it comes to supporting ideas, business ventures, I do not get a lot of support. All right. First, again, thank you for trusting me with this question. Hopefully, something that I say or share with you will assist you in identifying how to better network. All right, so first, we want to identify two key terms: networking versus relationship building. All right, so this is something that I don't remember being taught in school, but that's okay. You have a YouTube video for that. All right, so let's define networking or a network. A network, according to Webster's, is an arrangement of intersecting horizontal and vertical lines. It's also considered a group or system of interconnected people or things. So that's what a network is by definition. Let's define relationship. A relationship is the way in which two or more concepts, ideas, or people are connected. So your network is the connection, and the relationship is how you are connected. Okay, it's a state of being connected. So the reason why we define those two terms is because it's very important to identify what categories your interactions fall into. Okay, so the way people network nowadays, we have social media. Facebook was built for the purpose of connecting people, okay, on one college campus, and then it expanded past that, okay? So that's an example of a network. The relationships that develop between people, whether they be friendships, relationships, professional relationships, is a completely set of criteria than just networking. Okay, you can have a huge network of a million people and have zero relationships within that network. Okay, so that can like really affect your ability to network. Okay, so if you have any questions, be sure you put them in the comment section so I can further elaborate on anything that is not clear. All right, so there are different ways that people are connected. You have to keep that in mind. Like in the same city, schools, like high school, even college, you can be in a network of people, right? You can be connected to people through association, friends of friends, friends of a relative, through your community organizations, fraternities, sororities, uh, special interest clubs, volunteer agencies, groups, trades, and even careers. Okay, so those are the different ways people can be connected. Guess what? That's your network. Even if you don't have any relationships in that network, that is your network. Okay. So, what we're going to talk about as far as me explaining how to network, you're going to have to learn how to cultivate and nurture relationships within your network. Okay. It's not something like that can be forced, it needs to happen organically. And you have to be open to relationships as well. We're going to also go over some roadblocks that people deal with that keep them from actually being able to build solid professional relationships. So, some of those roadblocks that people encounter are um, the fact that, like, the fact that you don't have those relationships built will give you get you the side eye real quick. You could have a great idea and you want to share it with the world, and because you lack relationships within your network, you can go to someone with your idea and they'll just look at you like, what you telling me for? What does it have to do with me? See what I'm saying? However, when you have relationships already established within your network, those are people who actually know you. Your network, those are people who know of you. They may know your name, they may know some basic information about you, but the people who you have your professional relationships with, those are the people who actually know you. So if you go to them with an idea, they'll say, "Oh, tell me more." Okay? Because they already know you as a person. They know what your character is, they know what your work ethic is. And so the openness to want to hear what you have to say is automatically there because you're more like a friend as opposed to just somebody wanting to get something from them. Okay? And you don't want to come off that way because people don't you don't I don't like when people approach me with the intentions of I just want to get something from you. And you can see it, smell it from miles away. Okay? So it needs to be authentic. When you are sharing an idea with someone who you already have a relationship with, it's totally different than like some door-to-door salesman coming up and asking you if you want to enroll in this satellite plan. Okay? Or people that knock on your door and try to get you to be a part of something, and sometimes it's religious organizations or whatever. Not gonna put anybody out there, but that's a perfect example of people having these networks they are a part of, such as community or whatever, but then not having any relationships built, and then getting the side eye because they're bringing something to you that, number one, is not relevant to you because they haven't taken the time to get to know you. Okay? So that is one huge roadblock that I have seen just regularly when it comes to people and networking and in building relationships and stuff. So another thing too is you can't expect someone to believe in what you're doing if they know nothing about you. There are some people who get by with it because maybe they are on a public platform, or they have solidified their place in society in other ways. For instance, um, one of my favorite basketball players, Shaquille O'Neal. Okay, he was a basketball player. All right. Remember, I think he had like a rap or something like that. He decided to go into music, right? Even Jordan, he was in basketball and then he went to baseball. Okay. The reason why people were receptive to Shaquille O'Neal, like, even if he wasn't the best rapper, I'm not saying he was a bad rapper, but I'm just using this as an example. So for Shaquille O'Neal to go from basketball into rap, and then for Jordan to go from basketball into baseball, they had already established themselves within their networks. So they had the professional relationships that were needed in order to support them in those ventures. Okay. So I hope that puts it into a little more perspective for you. But people already knew more in-depth things about them, so they were more receptive to supporting them. Okay. So people who are in your network aren't really going to know things like what your hobbies are, your interests are, the type of entertainment you like. There is a reason why businessmen entertain. They have budgets that are set aside. Even entertainers entertain. They have budgets that are set aside for when they go out, when they make it rain. If you look in the music videos, when they make it rain, if they are using paper money, it's probably because it's a prop and it's a set. But when they go out, they actually have money. They have wads of dollar bills or whatever they decide they're going to use that is set aside just for making it rain in the clubs. That is their way of building relationships with the people who are in their network. Because as soon as people start getting that money and they feel like, oh man, oh my God, they gave me some money, it somehow establishes a type of rapport. Okay. So you can look it up. Entertainers have, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like specific money that is just for making it rain. Okay. So they have tapped into the importance of building relationships within your networks. Another entertainer that is really good at building relationships within their networks, and for entertainers, their network is their fan base. Okay. So one other entertainer, DJ Khaled, he's phenomenal about this. He will go and do giveaways, go into the neighborhood. He is building and establishing relationships within his network. Okay. So, um, other roadblocks that people face when it comes to networking is that lines can often be blurred when discipline does not exist. So, what that looks like, a perfect example is reality shows, particularly reality shows that feature some type of celebrity, pseudo celebrity, B, C list celebrities. Okay. So it can be really messy, but part of that is because of the lack of discipline in establishing certain relationships. So, what you will see on some of these reality shows is people who are supposed to be working together professionally crossing the lines, and next thing you know, they moved in together, they got other stuff going on. So it's like they got the relationship part down, but they went somewhere else with it. But at the same time, we're all human, and the possibility of finding someone who is a good match for you in a relationship is highly likely. If you are in the same field, you have the same interest, is possible. Okay. But for the sake of an example, when it comes to those failed relationships within networks, a lot of times they could have been avoided had there been discipline that was being exercised. So, another roadblock that comes with networking is there are a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors that are displayed by people who only know how to network in the traditional sense. Not I'm not talking about relationship building. I'm talking about they just feel like because they're popular, because they're well known, because they're part of this group and that group, and they're clicked up from high school, that they are inevitably going to be successful. So what ends up happening is those self-sabotaging behaviors manifest themselves in the way of biases, jealousy. They have cliques, high school and college mentalities, where basically people get stuck. They get stuck in what they believe were the best years of their life. Okay. So if that means high school was the best years of their life or college was the best years of their life, they lock into that mentality that they had in high school and college, and it self-sabotages them because that mentality does not carry over well when it comes to business relationships. Okay. So that is a self-sabotaging behavior that I see so much. Like a perfect example, if you go on to like the typical social media networks where people, particularly from high school, can stay in touch with each other. People are doing different things. It's an awesome way to keep up with people and to share parts of your life and see, if you're that type of social networker, um, just catch up, right? So, in that catching up and in the growth and the things, the changes that occur over time, we share different parts of our life, right? So, I noticed, and I should, one day I'm just going to do social experiments, and that's just going to be what I do. But yeah, I'm serious. I plan on doing undercover boss and all that. So anyways, I just observe a lot, and you can see someone who, let's say, they want to sell toilet paper covers for your bathroom. They can have a huge network in their local community. And because the people in their local community know them and they have relationships with them, either through relation or they went to high school together or played, sports together, they will support that person. They will be like, yes, you are going to be the best toilet paper cover, seller in the world, right? And then what happens is once their idea reaches past their network or their clique, it dies. It is no longer viable because unfortunately networks can cripple people. Like if you don't grow, if you don't allow yourself to grow and you get stuck in that high school or college mentality, it can be very debilitating. Networks can be very debilitating if they are, a place where you become stagnant. So that self-sabotaging behavior of only seeing things one way through one type of lens, it totally destroys people's possibilities when it comes to true networking and relationship building, because you can have a huge network, but without those relationships, which is the glue that binds, people across barriers, across race barriers, across class barriers, those relationships, those are what get you further. You have access to more information because you're tapping in to a connection that is outside of what you are used to. Okay. So again, remember, a network is just basically a bunch of people who know you by name, who know of you, but not necessarily, they don't necessarily know who you really are. So your relationships, when you focus on nurturing and building, and being open to professional relationships, they stand out quite a bit, and they show you things beyond your wildest imaginations, because again, you're able to connect with people who are outside of your current network. Yes, it's not just about building relationships with people in your network. It's about being open to relationships and professional relationships with people who are outside of your network, right? All right, so this mentality, and I can't remember what artist came up with this song, but remember, no new friends, no new friends. Okay, so that's a cool mentality to have. Excuse me, I'm gonna sip my water today, or it's sparkling water. Today I'm drinking this wonderful stuff. It is called Bottled Green Sparkling Press. It's ginger and lemongrass. So I'll put the link if you want to check it out. Okay. So that mentality of no new friends, it's okay when it comes to your personal business. Like, it's understandable because you just don't want to put your personal business out there like that. But when it comes to establishing professional relationships, throw that whole idea away. No new friends, because yes, you need new friends when it comes to establishing professional relationships. Okay. Be open to that. This will help you tremendously as you begin to really take on networking. So don't ever feel bad or rejected if you feel like you are not being accepted in your network that you are currently in, whether your network is just your local community, at work, in your church or community organizations or fraternities or sororities. Do not feel bad or rejected, okay? Many times people can only accept you from where they have allowed themselves to grow to. Okay, that's just a fact, period. Okay. There is a huge world out there full of people who can be a part of your network, okay, who are open to and want to build professional relationships with somebody just like you. Maybe you're the missing key, the missing puzzle piece to what they are looking for as far as having good, solid, sustainable relationships and even friendships. Because a lot of times, in my experience, like, solid professional relationships turn into amazing friendships. Amazing friendships. Like, I have several professional relationships that have long since turned into friendships, and it's amazing. It truly is amazing. You just have to remember to keep the discipline when it comes to having professional relationships. So um, look at the rejection instead of looking at it as this painful thing that you're going through, feeling rejected and unappreciated. No, no, no. Look at it as a feedback loop. Okay. Rejection is not this debilitating, horrible experience. It is a part of a feedback loop that allows you to understand that maybe the network that you are currently operating in or reaching out to is just too small for the purpose that you are meant to fulfill. Okay. It happens. And guess what? That's a point where you want to grow from. You don't want to get stuck in that. You don't want to get depressed. You don't want to give up on your dreams and goals because the network that you are either currently in or reaching out to is not receptive to you. Okay. So maybe what you have to offer is just not meant for your current network. And guess what? That's okay. It's okay. So just because you may have to take a different path to reach your destination, it does not mean that the path is any less valuable. Okay. as a last resort, if you have tried everything to, network and you don't feel like you've been successful in it, you've attended events, fundraisers, you've reached out to colleagues and all of those things, look into professional coaching. There are tons of professional coaches out there who they have reached a point in their lives where they are ready to give back to those who they feel could benefit from the information they have to offer. Maybe if you're still introverted, maybe it feels overwhelming to try and connect with others on a professional level. If you've tried everything and maybe your personality type is just different, and it's like, you know what, being social and going to events and reaching out to people is just not my thing, that is okay. Again, just because you may have a different path to reach your destination does not mean that that path is less valuable. So, thank you very much for trusting me again with this question. And I hope that something I shared will benefit you and help you as you move forward with learning and developing the ways that you are going to network. If anything I said in this video helped you in any way, please subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to answering more questions as time goes on. If you know anybody has questions or you want to send me a question, the information is below in the description box. Otherwise, I hope your 2020 is off to an amazing start, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say as time moves on. Thanks. Take care.